more than just the skill set itself. If it was just about the skill set, Jameis Winston would be a top 5 quarterback. He's got a cannon arm, can move pretty well, fairly accurate as long as he's not throwing it to the other team. That's more decision making than anything. But it's about what can you. It's more than just the physical talent. Let's show Kirk Cousins, for example, right? Everybody loves banging Kirk Cousins. I've been saying Kirk Cousins is a top 10 to 12 quarterback for the last 3 years, since the show's been a thing. Even before that, but publicly, since the show's been a thing, Kirk Cousins is a top 10 to 12 quarterback, no problem. What does Kirk do well? Because it's not his arm. He doesn't move all that well. He's a good leader, but he's not like a rah-rah Brady type guy where he's going to get in your ear. What does Kirk Cousins do really well? Well, let's start with this. Grown up in the room. You got no problems with Kirk. Kirk's not out of clubs. Kirk's got wife, kids, blah, blah. Kirk is a grown up in the room. You're going to have no problem with Kirk Cousins. Well, what about between the ears? Very good pre-snap. Kirk is known as a very, very good pre-snap quarterback. And then what's the third component to Kirk? Consistency. He's consistently about 100 pass rating. He's going to give you roughly 25 touchdowns. Yeah, he'll throw about 9, 10 picks a year. He's going to complete 67% of his throws. He's going to be good, not special. But he's rarely, primetime games aside, rarely going to be bad. It's just going to be very, very average Kirk Cousins. Dak Prescott, same thing so far. Now, I think Dak is slightly worse, but that's fine. Derek Carr, same thing. You could be thinking, like, so really, because if it was about talent, Baker Mayfield spins a beautiful football. He's got a really nice arm. Fairly accurate, too. I actually like his throwing motion a ton. I think Baker's a very talented. If you said right now, give me the 32 most talented quarterbacks in the world, I think Baker Mayfield absolutely deserves to be a top 20 talent-wise starter in the National Football League. But it's about more than just that. And I've been saying that since Baker came into the league. It's about more than just, flashy talent. Right? It's about, hey, are you a grown-up in the room? Are you going to go call out the medical staff at the podium? Are you going to throw a pick and try to square up a safety, hurt your shoulder, and be out for the year? And then try to play through it and tell us that you deserve something for playing through it? I'll give you a round of applause. Cool, you're tough. Doesn't matter if your team's losing when you're trying to play through your pain. It does not matter. Right? So it's more about the character of a player. Like, for example, Tim Duncan. We're relating this all the way back to the NBA draft, which is kind of where I started. Tim Duncan was never the most talented. What was his nickname? Mr. Fundamental. Right? Just did all the little things right. Hit the little square on the backboard on every little bank shot. Mr. Fundamental. Right? It's more than just high-flying talent in the NBA, in the NFL, etc. And it's no different for NFL quarterbacks. I would argue it's the consistency that sets quarterbacks apart. We talk about it with Joe Burrow all the time. Not the biggest. He doesn't move the best. That's Lamar. Doesn't have the biggest arm. That's either Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. Justin Herbert's now in that category. He's not he's tough, but he's not like the toughest. He's had some injuries, his ACLs. But why is he so? Because he's consistently very precise, very focused. It's more the intangibles than the tangibles with him. Very similar to Dak. Now, I think Joe is obviously a much, much better quarterback than Dak, but Dak's the same way. Dak's arm's not the best. He doesn't move the best. But Dak's a very good leader. He's going to say the right things at the podium. These are the things that set people apart. This is what Baker Mayfield has never had.
Yeah. When the character comes into question, that's how you know you have a problem. So the one thing I want to look at, take it back to college with Baker, and we're going to compare him now. So I was thinking originally, look at Mahomes in college and look at Baker in college. But they have two very different personalities. I would say somebody with a little bit closer of a personality to Baker Mayfield would be Joe Burrow, because they both have the swag about them. They both had the grit, the chip on the shoulder in college, right?
Had to transfer.
100%. Yeah. So you have Joe Burrow in college, smoking the cigar after the game, after the national championship win, right? Just exuding confidence. But he wasn't grabbing his nuts in the middle of the field, and he wasn't running from cops before draft day, and he wasn't, getting in fights and picking fights with little kids at a coin toss against Kansas. These little things you could see coming from miles down the road with Baker Mayfield, and you compare him to somebody who has a very, very similar aura about them in Joe Burrow, You don't find those character problems. He actually turns that competitive edge into what it is, a competitive edge. He doesn't let that become his downfall. He uses it to his advantage. Now, the reason I didn't want to compare him to Mahomes was because Mahomes was never the flashy guy. He was never the high-flying, flashy guy in college, Texas Tech. Oh, my God. That was never Mahomes. Mahomes was very just...
Under the radar.
Stick to what you do. Just don't look at anybody else. Keep your head down and grind. And look at where that got him. So there's different ways and there's different formulas of how to make it as an NFL quarterback. And Baker Mayfield just has not followed any of the right pathway to where he's at now. And look where that's landed him. He is now known as the guy in Tampa that's replacing Tom Brady. Already came in, said he's not going to be Tom Brady.
We know that, thanks.
Just, to tamper expectations. Already had to bounce around from where he had a great, handed to him on a silver platter of a situation.
Great roster.
In Cleveland. Screwed it up. Found himself in Carolina for, how many weeks? And then he was over in Los Angeles for
12.
a little bit, and it was kind of awkward when he got traded there. But then
had a good game.
He had a good game.
Credit
but
there.
then he didn't even end up playing all that much, and now he's in Tampa. You can see where it unraveled, and it started to unravel for Baker the day that he got drafted, and even before that in college. You had all the telltale signs. So what did Cleveland do? They went and drafted him. So if that says anything about Cleveland.
Well, I always said he wasn't the number one pick. I think he was a first-round pick, maybe not number one. But, I mean, pivoting to another sport's number one overall